Ethereal Sonata, Dimensions of Harmony. Act 1, the Council's Evolution. The chamber that seems to exist between worlds, partly physical with stone columns and partly ethereal with wisps of luminous energy flowing through the air. 7 figures sit in a semicircle, their forms shifting between solid and translucent as light plays across the room. Elder Orion. His voice resonating with multiple harmonics. The balance shifts. Our council grows as our worlds edge closer. Malcolm, Sophia, please take your places among us. Malcolm and Sophia Rivers step forward, their appearance more ethereal than human now, though they retain distinct human features. Malcolm's salt and pepper hair seems to float slightly, while Sophia's eyes contain swirling galaxies of light. Malcolm. With a warm smile, a century ago, I was just a music professor discovering strange notes in my compositions. Now I stand before the council as one of you. The journey feels both impossibly long and startlingly brief. Sophia. Placing her hand on Malcolm's, creating small ripples of light where they touch, we bring with us the memories of our human lives, the confusion, the discovery, the wonder. These perspectives must not be lost as we evolve. Elder Lyra. Stepping forward, her movements fluid like a dancer's, this is why the initiates category was created. You bridge worlds in ways even we elders cannot. Lyra's appearance is striking, dark hair interwoven with what looks like violin strings that occasionally produce soft notes when she moves. Her eyes shift color with her emotions. Lyra. When I discovered my hybrid nature during a performance in Prague, my violin began playing itself, harmonizing with notes I wasn't creating. The audience thought it was part of the show. Laughs, I was as startled as they were. Elder Octavio. His deep voice carrying jazz-like improvisational rhythms, that spontaneity is our greatest gift, Lyra. Octavio appears as a tall, broad-shouldered man with dark skin that sometimes reveals constellation patterns beneath. His fingers constantly move as if playing invisible instruments. Octavio. In New Orleans, music isn't just planned, it's discovered in the moment. I've applied that same principle to our manifestation techniques. Watch. He snaps his fingers and a small jazz trumpet materializes, hovering in the air, playing a few notes before dissolving back into particles of light. Octavio. No preparation. No complex formulas. Just feeling the energy and shaping it with intention. Elder Celeste. Her voice gentle but precise, intention guided by pattern recognition. The mathematics behind what Octavio just did are fascinating. Celeste appears as an elderly woman with silver hair that moves like slow-flowing water. Mathematical equations occasionally appear as glowing symbols floating around her head. Celeste. At 89, when most humans are preparing to leave their physical form, I was just discovering mine wasn't entirely human. Smiles. The late awakening gave me a unique perspective on the numerical structures underlying both realms. Elder Orion. And this is why our council needed expansion. Fresh perspectives. New approaches. The times of convergence approach faster than anticipated. Malcolm. Concerned, is the human world ready? My grandchildren report increasing instances of accidental manifestation among the younger hybrids. Elder Lyra. Nodding, this is why my harmonic resonance mapping has become crucial. We've identified 17 previously unknown hybrid bloodlines across Eastern Europe and Asia. Sophia. 17? How did they remain hidden for so long? Elder Lyra. With a hint of sadness, some deliberately concealed themselves, believing their abilities to be curses or diseases. Others simply manifested differently, through mathematics, visual arts, even cooking. Music isn't the only bridge between worlds. The chamber shifts slightly, the stone elements becoming more prominent as they transitions to a different area of the council chambers. Act 2, the Commission's report. A large circular table materializes, with representatives from each commission seated around it. Holographic images float above the table, showing various locations around the world. Harmony Commission Director Elijah Rivers. Malcolm and Sophia's son, appearing in his 50s with streaks of ethereal light in his hair, the network of resonance centers has expanded to 43 locations globally. Tokyo's center has had particular success with neurological disorders. A hologram shows a Japanese facility where patients listen to specialized music while ethereal energies visibly flow around them. Elijah. This patient, pointing to a young boy, had non-verbal autism. After 8 sessions, he began speaking in full sentences. His brain scans show remarkable changes in neural connectivity. Veil Commission Director Amara. A woman with dark skin and eyes that occasionally flash with rainbow light, the harmonic integration protocol has reached Phase 3 in Scandinavia, Phase 2 in South America and Oceania. The hologram shifts to show a music festival in Norway where subtle ethereal manifestations are visible to the human audience, who appear delighted rather than frightened. Amara. Human acceptance rates exceed our projections. The Helsinki Festival resulted in a 78% positive response rate, with only 3% expressing fear. The remaining percentage registered primarily confusion, not rejection. Elder Octavio. Leaning forward, and the sentinel monitoring? Any adverse reactions we should address? Amara. Hesitating slightly, there was an incident in Barcelona. A young hybrid performer became overwhelmed and fully manifested ethereally on stage. The hologram shows a teenage girl playing a cello that suddenly transforms into pure light, her body becoming momentarily transparent before solidifying again. Amara. Our intervention team handled it well. The audience believes it was an elaborate hologram effect. The girl is now receiving training at the Celestial Conservatory. Lineage Commission Director Axel. A serious man with geometric patterns occasionally rippling across his skin, which highlights the importance of our archives. That girl's bloodline showed similar manifestation patterns 3 generations back. The hologram shifts to show a vast library existing in both physical and ethereal space, with books that transform into light patterns when opened. Axel. We've documented over 4,000 unique manifestations of hybrid abilities across all known bloodlines. The archives now exist simultaneously in both realms, accessible based on the visitor's nature. Transition Commission Director Sophia Rivers. Speaking formally in her commission role, the archives have proven invaluable to our newest commission's work. We've successfully guided 27 aging hybrids through conscious transition this year alone. The hologram shows elderly hybrids in a peaceful garden setting, their forms gradually becoming more ethereal while maintaining consciousness and identity. Sophia. Before the commission, many experienced traumatic transitions, sudden shifts between realms, loss of memory, identity fragmentation. Now we can offer a gradual, controlled process. Malcolm. With emotion in his voice, I remember my own transition. The terror of dissolving, until you found me, Sophia. No one should experience that fear. A moment of silence as the elders remember their own transitions. Elder Celeste. Breaking the silence, the quantum composition research may offer additional stability. Our latest findings suggest specific musical patterns can create anchors between dimensions. A complex mathematical equation appears above her, transforming into musical notation and then into a swirling portal-like visualization. Elder Celeste. If these equations are correct, we may soon be able to create permanent gateways, controlled access points between realms. The council members exchange significant looks. Act 3: The Rising Generation. The modern conservatory with large windows overlooking a mountain landscape. Young hybrids of various ages practice their abilities under the watchful eyes of teachers. Aria Rivers Chen. A striking young woman in her 20s with features reminiscent of Malcolm and Sophia, though with East Asian characteristics as well. Grandfather, I've been experimenting with the multidimensional composition techniques. Aria sits at a grand piano, but as she begins to play, a second ghostly piano appears overlapping the physical one. Her hands move across both instruments simultaneously. Aria. As she plays, the humans in my last concert could see the manifestations. Not clearly, but they perceived something beyond the ordinary. The veil thins with each performance. Malcolm. Concerned, is that wise, Arya? The integration protocol has careful timetables for exposure. Arya. With the confidence of youth, the younger humans are ready for more. They hunger for something beyond the material world. My music gives them a glimpse without overwhelming them. As she continues playing, the room itself seems to respond, colors becoming more vibrant, air currents forming patterns. Malcolm. Watching with a mixture of pride and concern, your abilities exceed even your father's. Elijah could transport himself through music, but you're transporting entire aspects of realms. Arya. Smiling, and the Dvorak triplets are doing even more extraordinary work. A once polluted river now teeming with life. 3 identical young men stand in a triangle formation, playing different instruments that create visible waves of energy flowing into the water and surrounding soil. First Dvorak triplet Misha. Lowering his violin, Grandfather Axel believed forceful manifestation was the only way forward. We're proving that healing works better than confrontation. Second Dvorak triplet Nikolai. With his viola, this river was dead 3 months ago. Now the ecosystem is rebuilding itself at 50 times the normal rate. Third Dvorak triplet Alexander. Setting down his cello, and the barrier between realms is naturally thinner here now. Feel it? He reaches out and his hand partially disappears into what looks like a pocket of shimmering air. Alexander. A resonance zone. Created not through complex rituals but through harmonious intention. Nearby, a young man watches them while simultaneously existing in what appears to be 2 overlapping states of being. Mateo Santiago. His voice echoing slightly as if coming from 2 sources, the Dvoraks create the gateways. I've been learning to exist on both sides simultaneously. Mateo steps forward, his appearance flickering between fully human and partially ethereal. He demonstrates by picking up a physical stone with one hand while manipulating ethereal energy with the other. Mateo. Uncle Octavio could manifest ethereal objects in the physical world. I'm working on the reverse, maintaining physical presence while partially existing in the ethereal realm. Arya. Approaching the group, these abilities will be crucial for the celestial crescendo. Have you seen what the 4th generation children are capable of? Now in the nursery where young children, ages 5 to 10, play with what appear to be soap bubbles, except these bubbles contain miniature landscapes, moving creatures, and stellar phenomena. Little Luna. About 7 years old, with eyes that occasionally display cosmic patterns, look what I made, Miss Arya. She holds up a bubble containing what appears to be a miniature ecosystem with tiny animals moving about. Luna. It's a harmony bubble. The animals inside are growing super fast. Look at the baby deer, it was just born this morning. Arya. Kneeling beside her, amazed, Luna, you're manipulating time within the field? Luna. Shrugging as if it's obvious, time is just another kind of music. Can't you hear it? It has rhythms and patterns too. Arya exchanges a significant look with Mateo. Act 4 Family Legacies. A family gathering at the Rivers estate, a sprawling property that appears partly normal and partly ethereal depending on how one looks at it. 5 generations of the family are present, from Malcolm and Sophia to infants just beginning to manifest abilities. Josephine Rivers. Malcolm and Sophia's daughter, now in her 70s but with an ethereal youthfulness. I remember when father first showed me how to transport through music. I was terrified. Elijah Rivers. Laughing, and I remember teaching Arya, who immediately tried to transport the entire piano along with herself. Arya. Smiling at her own daughter, now 10, and now Melody can transport objects between dimensions without even trying. Last week she accidentally sent her mathematics homework to the ethereal realm. Melody, a serious-looking girl with unusual golden eyes, looks up from a complex geometric structure she's building out of what appears to be solidified light. Melody. Matter of fact lie, my teacher couldn't see it anymore, but the ethereals loved my equations. Elder Celeste says I created a perfect septagonal prism in 11 dimensions. Sophia. Gently, and did you recreate your homework for your human teacher? Melody. With a child's practicality, I told her a dimensional anomaly absorbed it. She gave me an A for creativity. The adults laugh, but there's a slight tension underlying the humor. Malcolm. Each generation's abilities manifest earlier and more powerfully. The first resonance infants are barely walking and already creating temporal fields. Everyone looks to where several toddlers play in a corner of the room. Around them, flower buds open and close repeatedly, cycling through blooming and returning to buds in minutes rather than days. Elijah. Lowering his voice, is the celestial crescendo still wise, given these developments? We may be accelerating things too quickly. Sophia. Firmly, the crescendo isn't causing these abilities, it's responding to them. The convergence is happening whether we guide it or not. Malcolm. Your mother is right. Better to shape the process than let it unfold chaotically. A crystalline chime sounds, and the family turns to see Elder Lyra materializing in the center of the room. Elder Lyra. Formally, the council requests the presence of all initiates and commission directors. We have detected anomalies. The mood shifts instantly from familial warmth to concern as the scene transitions. Act 5: The Celestial Crescendo. The council chamber, now expanded to accommodate dozens of representatives from around the world. Holographic displays show hundreds of locations where preparations for the synchronized performance are underway. Elder Orion. His voice grave, the patterns emerging in the youngest hybrids suggest something we had not anticipated. Elder Celeste, please explain. Elder Celeste steps forward, complex mathematical equations swirling around her. Elder Celeste. The resonance infants aren't just developing abilities earlier, they're developing abilities that suggest contact with realms beyond the ethereal. Their mathematical structures don't match our binary understanding of human and ethereal realms. She gestures and a complex three-dimensional model appears, showing interconnected spheres representing different dimensions. Elder Celeste. We've always understood our reality as two parallel dimensions occasionally connecting. But these children's abilities suggest a multiverse model, with the ethereal realm simply being the first non-physical dimension humans have managed to perceive. Murmurs spread through the gathered representatives. Elder Lyra. My harmonic resonance mapping has detected unusual signatures as well. Not just hybrid bloodlines, but what appear to be remnant echoes of transitions long past. Malcolm. Realization dawning, you're suggesting ethereals were once human? That our separate realms are actually. Elder Octavio. Completing the thought, different stages of the same evolutionary journey. Yes, exactly. Sophia. Stunned, the celestial crescendo isn't just bringing two separate worlds together. Arya. Stepping forward, it's reuniting branches of the same cosmic family that diverged millennia ago. The music we've planned for the crescendo contains patterns I didn't consciously create, patterns that resonate with something beyond both our realms. A montage of preparations around the world, concert halls being prepared, hybrid musicians practicing, special instruments being crafted. As the day of the celestial crescendo approached, 7,000 hybrid musicians prepared to perform simultaneously across 42 countries. The compositions, created primarily by Arya Rivers Chen, contained mathematical patterns that Elder Celeste believed would temporarily align multiple dimensions. Focus shifts to a massive outdoor amphitheater built into a natural valley. Arya stands at the central conductor position, with the Dvorak triplets leading separate orchestral sections. Arya. Addressing the musicians, remember, this isn't just a performance, it's a harmonic incantation. Each note creates ripples across dimensions. Stay focused on your emotional intent as much as the technical execution. As sunset approaches, a massive audience gathers, a mixture of humans unaware of the true nature of the event and those with knowledge of hybrid existence. Amara. From the Veil Commission, monitoring from a control center, all sites report ready. Ethereal presence monitoring systems are active. Sanctuary stabilization fields are at full capacity. Elder Celeste. Her eyes closed in concentration, the mathematical confluence approaches perfect alignment. Begin on Arya's signal. Arya raises her hands. Absolute silence falls across the valley. Then, as she brings her hands down, music begins, not just from the orchestra before her but seemingly from the air itself, the ground, the sky. The music builds in complexity and power. Around the world, similar performances unfold in perfect synchronization. The air above each venue begins to shimmer, the barrier between realms visibly thinning. Human audience member. Gasping, do you see that? The air is changing. Above each performance space, the sky appears to open, revealing glimpses of the ethereal realm, beautiful, geometric, impossible structures and beings of light and sound. As the celestial crescendo reached its apex, the veil between worlds thinned dramatically. For the first time in recorded history, thousands of ordinary humans directly perceived the ethereal realm. Rather than panic, most responded with wonder and recognition, as if remembering something long forgotten. In the control center, monitors show status reports from around the world. Amara. Amazed, acceptance rates at 94% globally. This exceeds our most optimistic projections. The human consciousness is ready. As the music continues, specific locations designated as harmony sanctuaries begin to shimmer more intensely than others. The barriers there don't just thin, they transform into permeable membranes that maintain stability while allowing passage. Elder Orion. His voice filled with emotion. After millennia of separation, the pathways are reopening. The sanctuaries are stabilizing. The music reaches its final, triumphant crescendo. As the last notes fade, the sky doesn't return entirely to normal in the sanctuary locations. Instead, it retains a subtle iridescence, a permanent marker of the thinned barrier. Epilogue. 1 month later, at the first operational Harmony Sanctuary, a beautiful garden-like space where the rules of physics seem gently altered. Reality shifts subtly depending on where one stands and how one perceives. A human child, about 5 years old, sits beside an ethereal child of similar age, though the concept of age is different for ethereals. Between them is what appears to be a musical instrument unlike anything on Earth, partly physical, partly energy. Human child. Placing hands through the ethereal components of the instrument, it tickles. Ethereal child. Laughing, the sound creating small bursts of light, that's how music feels to me all the time. Together, they begin creating a simple melody that creates visible patterns in the air around them. The patterns form into complex structures that even adults haven't seen before. Elder Celeste watches from a distance, analyzing the mathematical patterns emerging from their innocent play. Elder Celeste. To Malcolm and Sophia standing nearby, do you see it? The children are creating doorways to the next realm already. Not just between human and ethereal, but beyond. Malcolm. Softly, is this what we intended with the crescendo? Sophia. Taking his hand, we intended harmony. Where it leads, is the next movement in the eternal symphony. The children's music creating what appears to be the beginning of a new dimensional gateway, its patterns more complex than anything seen before, suggesting not an ending, but a new beginning. And so the first chapter of Convergence concluded, even as the next began. The eternal symphony continued its endless composition, with humanity and ethereals no longer playing separate melodies, but harmonizing in a cosmic opus only just beginning to be heard. The story continues in Celestial Rhapsody. The Convergence of Worlds.